Please welcome Head of Ecosystem, Martin Suntinger.
Welcome to Atlas Camp 2019, and thank you all for joining us here today. Herzlich willkommen. I'm super excited to see so many familiar faces here in the audience today, but also a lot of people joining us for the very first time. When I'm asked what's different about the Atlassian ecosystem, my first answer is always its culture. Matt from AppFire put this into words nicely when he told me the Atlassian ecosystem was built on the collective support for each other. We love that spirit of teaming up, whether it's joint product launches or marketing events you are doing together, whether it's helping each other out in the community forums, or even building deep integrations between your apps so that you can build better experiences for our joint customers. I encourage you all to take these coming 2 days and strengthen these existing partnerships, but also seek out new ones. And I'm sure a lot of great ideas will spark from there. Meanwhile, we do have an exciting, jam-packed agenda for all of you, with 4 tracks and over 50 sessions and a lineup of great speakers. There's content for each and every one of you. I want to take the opportunity to thank our awesome developer experience team here in the first row. Thanks, guys. And our ecosystem marketing team, alongside with Stefan Opel from Utility, Christopher Bromberg from K15T, and Martin Arts from Avisi, who helped shape the content over these coming 2 days. Thank you. And of course, a very special thank you to our sponsors, Botron Software, Now Consultants, Dicer, ECBI, Proforma, Resolutions, and Cyracom. This event would not have been possible without your support, so let's give them a big round of applause. Now, Vienna is a special place for me personally. Many years ago, I came here to study at the Technical University. I started my career in tech here, and most importantly, it was here in this city where I met my wonderful wife. And as she would say, I also met my quote-unquote second wife, my co-founder Hannes, and together with a small but mighty team, a couple of years ago, we set out to build our first app in the Atlassian marketplace, Roadmaps for Jira. It was here in this city where we, with the team, celebrated this magic moment of our first ever customer, our first ever license sold through the Atlassian marketplace. Do you remember that moment for your first app? Back then, we made a big bet to go all in on Atlassian as our platform of choice. And the logic for that was really quite simple. We needed 3 things. First, we needed a platform that customers trust, that customers use and love, so we could reach these customers. Second, it needed to solve our #1 problem, distribution. We knew that we could build great software, but we had no idea how to get it into the hands of millions of people worldwide. And third, it needed to be flexible, yet powerful enough so we could build what we envisioned, and our developers would have a great experience working day to day. Oh, and of course, we wanted to choose a company that wasn't likely going to screw us over anytime soon. These pillars are as relevant for everyone here in the audience today as they were back then for me and my team. So for the remainder of this keynote, we're going to walk you through what we've shipped in each of these areas and what's coming up next. Everything we do must start with the customer. Put customers first and business will follow. At Atlassian, our mission is to unleash the potential in every team. And this timeless mission is as relevant as ever as companies turn to us for better ways of working, for ways to innovate faster, for ways to transform their companies to stay ahead of competition. Together, you are helping us shape the future of teamwork. And we don't mean that lightly. With now over 150,000 customers, your work impacts the lives of millions of knowledge workers worldwide. Knowledge workers across a broad range of industries, including aeronautics, automotive, manufacturing, and healthcare, who are truly doing incredible things. Just like Audi, innovation lies at the heart at Audi, and over 6,000 members of Audi's R&D team use Jira and Confluence daily and heavily rely on marketplace apps from many of you here in the audience, including Adaptavist, Sapphire, TNG Consulting, and many, many more. Our products track thousands of feature requests and critical issues so that they can be resolved before cars hit the road or even the production line. Your apps are truly mission critical for these businesses. And just like Audi, tens of thousands of our customers rely on apps from the marketplace to tailor our products to the unique needs of their teams. In fact, now more than 60% of Atlassian's customers across cloud and server use apps from the marketplace. And as we look towards our largest customers, this number is well over 80%. Customer demand isn't just coming from customers adding their first app, but it's coming from customers adding their second, their third, their fourth, or, well, even maybe their 101st app. That's right. One customer from the entertainment industry told us they're using a staggering 101 apps. Wow, picture that. Well, good luck with the next Jira upgrade, I'd say. But jokes aside, serving customers at scale is critical for us to do. And today, many of these customers use Atlassian's data center offering. And in listening to these customers, one thing we did hear loud and clear is that they needed a way to make sure that their apps perform at scale in a multi-node environment. So we worked with many of you over the past year to introduce a data center approved apps program. We started the year with a goal of 200 apps. And I'm super excited to share that we have tripled that goal, and we closed out the year with over 600 data center approved apps, thanks to all your help. Thank you. What's even more important than that, though, is the outcome for our customers. If you're a customer and you're using data center and data center approved apps, you're 3 times less likely to have a major production incident related to apps. So on behalf of our customers, a huge thank you to all of you for investing in this program and achieving this outcome together. Thank you. Put customers first, and business will follow. And it sure did this past year. I'm excited to share that the Atlassian ecosystem has hit a record year, $300 million in app sales in a single year. That's a massive milestone, so congratulations to each and every one of you here. Thank you. This number, more importantly, means 225 million paid out to our developers, funding thousands of jobs across this community. The numbers also show that our customers are taking us, and with that, your apps, to the cloud. Our cloud business grew over 60% year over year in this past year, and nearly 150 vendors saw triple-digit growth rates in their cloud business. Cloud is quickly becoming a critical part of your business's financial health. At our most recent most recent summit, Atlassian co-founder Mike stood on stage and shared our commitment to make the Atlassian cloud the best experience for all types of teams. The best Atlassian experience for all types of teams at any scale. We are designing for a cloud-first future. And to deliver on this promise, across our platform, we've been shipping improvements at a rapid pace. In the past year, we've expanded our data centers to new regions in Sydney, Singapore, and Frankfurt. We've completed additional compliance certifications. We've expanded our investments in data privacy. We've announced data encryption at rest and in transit. And we kept expanding user limits. In fact, this week we announced a new early access program for 10,000 users in the cloud. This promise is a commitment that extends to this entire ecosystem. We are committed to do what it takes on our end, but we need your help to deliver on it. Together, we need to achieve three things. Number one, trust. We need to make sure that our customers can trust marketplace apps as much as they trust Atlassian's own cloud products. Number two, choice. We must provide customers with a better choice in cloud, fulfilling more use cases. This is not about like for like. It is about focusing on what customers need and solving these challenges better in cloud using latest cloud technologies. And finally, migration. Over the past 12 months, the rate of server-to-cloud migrations has been increasing steadily, and we must provide our customers with a reliable path to take their installations from server to cloud, including their apps. Let's talk about trust. Now, who here has had to deal with a security incident related to their apps? Don't be shy. We're not judging. It's a blame-free event. And if you're not raising your hand, well, don't worry. It's almost certain that it's just a question of time. But to beat the odds, we're investing in new security programs for the ecosystem. And we recently started a new program together with BugCrowd, a crowdsourcing platform that our own Atlassian security team has been already using successfully to identify critical security vulnerabilities and fix them before anything bad happens. This program extends the use of the BugCrowd platform to ecosystem vendors. And we've successfully piloted with 4 vendors. A big thanks to K15T, Adaptavist, Almworks, and Tempo for being part of that journey with us. Initial feedback has been very positive, and we already had a couple of critical bugs identified and fixed as part of that story. My favorite story about that program, though, was shared with me just yesterday by Stefan from K15T, who, well, actually had a bit of a, you could say, reverse bug bounty. They actually, as part of that, identified a critical issue on the Atlassian side and reported it. And the K15T team actually got the full $5,000 payout for finding that bug from Atlassian. Even better than that, the team decided to donate this money to a good cause, helping families in need in Aleppo, Syria. So thank you very much to your K15T team for such a great example. Bug bounty is a great example for us taking something that's worked for us at Atlassian and extending it to the entire ecosystem. Up next, we'll be looking at making it easier for customers to do security assessments so that they don't have to reach out to each and every one of you individually with 500 different security questions. And we'll make sure that we accurately represent your security posture in the marketplace, so your investments in this area clearly show to customers. With the increase in migrations and more large customers landing in cloud, there is continuous demand for cloud versions of popular server apps. And we were happy to see that many of you here already listened. Since we last got together at Atlassian, over 40 of some of our most popular server apps have launched cloud versions, including JSU, Structure, and Insights by Riada. To further accelerate this, I'm happy to share that we now have dedicated teams in both Jira and Confluence Cloud to provide critical APIs to unlock more use cases in the cloud. Make sure you check out the talks over the coming 2 days to learn more about that. To help customers with the migration to the cloud, an important first step is to help them understand which of their apps are available and compatible in cloud. Today, we have many customers reaching out to us. The only way to do that is, well, frankly, manually. Customers look through documentations, app listing pages, and, well, if you're that customer with 10 or 20 or maybe 101 apps, that is a really painful process. So we'll make it easier for our customers. We'll display an app assessment right in the Migration Assistant for customers. To get this right, we need your help. Over the coming weeks, we'll be rolling out what we call a source of truth tool, so you can provide details on your apps, how it compares, if you're working on a cloud version, and any other details customers should be knowing about this, so they have full access to that, and make sure that they're taking your app together to the cloud. Now we know our customers can't wait to get this information. But it's also going to be a critical signal for us as a team, so we know if you are blocked somewhere that we can tackle these challenges together. I'm confident that if we team up, if we tackle blockers one by one, that we can together deliver on this cloud promise and provide the best Atlassian experience for all types of teams in the cloud. Now let's shift gears. I told you earlier that a great platform needs to provide you with an efficient distribution mechanism, so you can focus on building great software. We think about this in two major building blocks: discoverability and promotions. For discoverability, last year at Atlassian, we shared that we're embarking on a new chapter for the Atlassian marketplace, the all-new in-product marketplace. It's been live for a couple of months now, and what we're seeing is that, in fact, 55% of all clicks to install come through that in-product journey. That just goes to show just how critical this experience is to get your apps into the hands of customers. And with new and improved technology and better analytics on our end, we're now able to further optimize and improve this experience. The next big step here is to open marketplaces' doors further to end users. Now, with over millions of monthly active users in our cloud products, you can imagine the potential if each and every one of them gets exposed to the power of apps. For Atlassian products, the so-called switcher is an important piece of in-product real estate to help our customers, well, switch between the products they have and also discover new ones. This is a great way for us to expose the embedded marketplace. And in fact, the team just told me last night that this experiment is just in staging right now to turn it on for end users so that they can see and discover apps and request them from your admins. I'm excited to see the results of this. Another great example we've shipped recently is in Jira Service Desk, helping customers discover one of our most popular use cases, asset management. And we do so through a contextual recommendation right in the product at the right time, powered by this new infrastructure of the embedded marketplace. And we have many, many more experiments in the pipeline. To promote your apps, we're investing in marketing. Recently, we piloted new campaigns focused on app use cases such as asset management, agile at scale, or agent productivity. These campaigns are a great way to do co-marketing together with you. And I'm happy to share that one of the recent campaigns actually drove over 500 installs of apps. So very promising results, and we'll keep working on these. To boost traffic to your listing pages, we're continuously making SEO optimizations, both in terms of content, but also in terms of technology improvements, including an all-new and improved mobile view that we're confident will boost search rankings over the coming weeks. We recently ran our first ever webinar on apps, reaching over 650 unique customers. And we continue to make strides in showcasing apps and introducing new use cases to our user community. In doing so, we've been able to double monthly active visits to these articles from the community. And there's one more thing. What? A JSON return from our Marketplace API? That's exactly right. Bear with me for a moment. Today, through this Marketplace API, you are capturing essential information on evaluations and purchases of customers. But we also heard from many of you that you need smarter ways to determine where you want to spend your marketing and sales dollars. And that, quite frankly, Marketplace is a bit of a black hole in that regard when it comes to tracking customers. Ouch. Well, some scientists recently got awarded a $3 million prize for the first photo of a black hole, but I'm pretty sure we won't win any prizes for this one here. So we are plugging it. I'm happy to share that starting today, we'll be sharing marketing attribution data through the Marketplace API, so you can see exactly where an evaluation comes from and tie it back to the original source. Who here thinks their marketing team is going to be excited about this change? Thank you. From the humble days of building a startup and my first Marketplace app, I don't think I could have possibly imagined how far this community would come in just a short few years. When I first officially joined Atlassian, we had just launched the Connect 1.0 framework and clocked in about 50 million in sales. Since then, you all have built hundreds of new apps. This community has grown to over 1,500 vendors and over 25,000 developers. It is truly an incredible feeling to be on this journey with all of you, particularly knowing that we're still just getting started. And to tell you more about how we're improving the developer experience for these 25,000 developers, please join me in welcoming to the stage our head of engineering, Mike Tria. Thank you.
Thanks, Martin. 25,000 developers. Blows my mind. I'll share with you today all of the exciting things we've been working on, the new product capabilities we've built, and some new platform capabilities that are coming down the pike. Each of the sections that we talk through here will have a deep dive session later in the event. So if there's anything that you want to know more about, feel free to check the schedule app on your phone. You'll get more. For those of you that stick around in this keynote till the end, there may even be a surprise. Last year at Atlas Camp, we announced that we rolled out OAuth 2 support in our APIs. For those of you that are unfamiliar, authorization code flow is also known as three-legged OAuth. It's also known as 3LO. It has a lot of names, I know. The authorization code flow is part of the OAuth 2 protocol, and it's the most commonly used flow in that spec. Adopting an industry standard means a few things, one of which is that if you adopt it, you're not adopting something that's exclusive to Atlassian. It also means that you get to use a library in your stack of choice. 3LO is commonly used for impersonation of a user, so when your app wants to act on behalf of that user. It's also user-led, which means that a user gets to explicitly grant and allow that that app can act on their behalf for whatever scopes that that app needs. Now I know what you're thinking. Which of our products actually supports 3LO? A lot of them. So we've got all the Jiras in there, Jira Service Desk, Jira Software, Jira Core, Trello, Bitbucket, and as of, I believe, Monday of this week, Confluence now supports 3LO as well. 3LO opens up these products to a whole range of new apps and integrations. To showcase this, we recently released a Jira plus Google Sheets integration. It's pretty cool. It lets you take issue detail information, user profiles, issue management from Jira, and pulls it right into Google Sheets. Pretty cool. But if all I did was come up here and talk about 3LO and 3LO specs, I think that'd be pretty lame. So let's change things up a little bit. Our teams have been building API updates and enhancements across the entire product line. And I want to deep dive on a few of them today. We'll talk a bit about Jira Software, Jira Service Desk, Confluence, and Trello. First, a question, though. How many of you are building apps for Jira Software Cloud? All right, I see most of the hands are on this side. I will direct the talk this way. We'll get back to you. Don't worry, we'll get back to you. So, webhooks. They're the base of many, many Jira apps. But unfortunately, the reliability of webhooks leaves a little something to be desired. We did some digging into this, and we found out that something like 10 out of every 100 webhooks was not delivered. That's not very good. I'm actually surprised we were approved a slide for this. The Jira team, though, has been hard at work. We've built a new retry strategy for webhooks, and now we're seeing some improvement, but something like over 10x deliverability improvements for webhooks in Jira. So there's actually even more work happening here, so we expect even further improvements to webhooks in the coming months. So hopefully you can trust your webhooks again, this side of the room. Workflows. They're the heart of Jira. Workflows govern everything that happens with issues. Over the last few months, the Jira software team has been working hard to figure out what are the best ways that we can take the power of Jira workflows and enable it for apps and integrations. To date, Jira Cloud offers what are called custom workflow post functions. This today is really the only extensible part of workflows for Jira Cloud. We've now launched 2 new Connect modules for workflows that allow you to build even richer apps. The first is conditions, which check whether a transition can be performed, and validators, which ensure that whatever data is being passed in that workflow transition is valid before the transition is performed. Speaking of rich apps, many of you build these configurable apps that extend Jira based on the particular needs of that Jira customer or Jira tenant. And you've been asking, and I actually see a few faces in here of people I know that have asked us for this, an ability to dynamically register modules at runtime to allow you to customize your product more. We know this has been a long-standing request, and I'm pleased to announce that you can now dynamically register modules in the context of an app installation. So this means your app can register different modules for each Jira tenant. In other words, like the example that you can see up here, if a user puts a value in for a particular field, you can now index and store that value. I think that's pretty cool. And when we told a few of you about dynamic modules for Jira, you said, something like this. Well, the answer is we're working on it right now. In fact, the Confluence team are enabling dynamic modules for macros and webhooks, and we're looking at web panels, sections, and items also right now. Jira Service Desk. It offers IT teams a wonderful tool to deliver a great customer experience. In order to resolve tickets, though, agents sometimes need a bit more context than what's available on a ticket. Let's say, for example, you have a laptop that's constantly rebooting. Well, what's the information that you would want to know? You might want to know, what kind of laptop is it? What's the OS? What's the hardware version? What patches were applied to it? You may also want to know, what are the previous support cases that might be tied to that particular device? Martin talked a little bit about asset management. With our new asset management API, it's now possible to store and view asset information in Jira Service Desk Cloud, letting agents and end users link assets to tickets. This helps IT teams speed up resolution time because it reduces all of the back and forth that happens between agents and end users. It also means that for an end user, when you're actually filing a request through the portal, you can put in any unassigned asset, or if you have an asset that's assigned to you, you can link it directly there on the portal. And this API is not just limited to Jira Service Desk. Asset API is also available for Jira Core and Jira Software. What you can do is you can view and link assets to an assets custom field that's available for Jira. How many of you are building an app for Trello? All right, 5. How many of you are using Trello either for work or for personal use? There it is, more over here. I knew we'd get back to this side of the room. Great. So did you all know that Trello has over 35 million registered users? Did you know that Trello has over 1 million active teams on it as well? We have a very vibrant ecosystem of Trello developers, and we're always looking for ways to let you build richer apps that are more Trello-y as a third-party developer. In fact, we've recently shipped a whole slew of developer enhancements that you'll find on my right and on my left. Trello is also becoming a lot more ubiquitous in the enterprise. So we've added things like Butler for workflows and attachment restrictions and even more. And we want you to be building apps for enterprise customers. But sometimes, to build an enterprise app means you have to integrate with some IT processes, services, or tools. That's why we added enterprise actions and webhooks to help customers be aware of events as they occur so that they can manage usage. Now, webhooks in Trello are not new, but the enterprise actions and webhooks we believe are a differentiator for Trello that's going to make it easier for you to build enterprise apps. I'll show you an example. Let's say you have some enterprise company that's using Splunk for tracking events. The company would often want to know when, let's say, something like a team is added to a Trello enterprise, they'll want to get that information out of Trello, pull it into Splunk so that they can have a paper trail of who did what, where, and when. But until recently, there wasn't really a good way of getting this. What you'd have to do is you'd have to build an app, pull the Trello Enterprise API, and then pull that information into Splunk. Terrible. So instead, what we did is we built Trello Enterprise webhooks. So now what you can do is you can have a webhook that listens for when a team is added to an enterprise in Trello and pull that information directly into Splunk. Pretty cool set of tools. As you can tell from all these updates, we care about adding and enhancing our APIs so that you can build and run self-sustaining businesses on the Atlassian platform. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to share one story with all of you. This is a developer who noticed a problem, built a solution, and found himself in the middle of a $1.3 million business running on the Atlassian marketplace, with over 90% of his business coming from cloud sales. Let's hear from Vitaly.
I grew up in Kyiv, Ukraine. I went to the high school there, studied desktop publishment and multimedia. When I was younger, I was into the computers and internet, video games. Somehow I tried programming. What I really loved about it is that you always have a task, it is well defined, and you know when it's done. I think I was influenced by friends and also by the fact that there are opportunities for programmers in other countries. So I started looking for jobs, applied to some, changed some, got better and better at programming. And then finally in 2014 I got an offer from a German company and I was able to move here as a software developer. The first time I got the idea of creating an app for Jira, it was back then when I was still in Kiev and was preparing to move to Berlin. And we had a problem in the way we collaborate with our counterparts in Switzerland. And I was looking for a solution for this problem. Naturally, I checked the Atlassian marketplace and surprisingly found none. So I thought I could maybe create one. So when creating an app, everything is well documented, and what helped me personally was the developer community, where all those questions, they were already asked and they were already answered by developers with more experience. The first version of that app was solving our specific problem. It worked surprisingly well, but then I thought maybe there are more teams that could benefit from this. So I followed the process of publishing the app. It wasn't right away that I had the idea that I could make some money on the Atlassian marketplace with this app. It only occurred to me after my first paycheck, 6 months down the road. It was quite exciting. Yet, even back then, I think I didn't really think that it could grow into something serious. With the Atlassian marketplace, I had all the tools necessary to talk to my customers. The customers started providing me some real good feedback, and I listened and I implemented the fixes. With Atlassian Marketplace, I am able to focus on what I do best and not to spend my time on what I'm weak at. As a developer, you just have to let the Atlassian do the heavy lifting for you in marketing and bringing more customers to your apps. All the exposure is done for you, you just do what you do best. So I got my settlement permit, and it was on the very same day when I decided to quit my job. Here I am, after I made the switch and decided to incorporate this thing. I finally brought a partner to Lizardbrain. Luckily, he's a better developer than I am. He was able to switch to helping me full-time as well. After I started doing apps for the Atlassian Marketplace full-time, my definition of work changed. And now that I work on my own terms, I am free to explore the city, I am free to travel and to live the lifestyle that I like. Business on the Atlassian Marketplace helps you retain your freedom with time, because time is the more precious resource we have.
So at this moment right now, Vitaly is up in Stockholm at a startup accelerator. We wish him the best of luck. Personally, I hope he wins if there's a contest. I want to go back to something that Martin said earlier in the talk. Everything we are doing starts from our customers. He shared that we saw a 60% increase in cloud app sales this year. A big part of that is because 90% of Atlassian customers are starting in cloud. And they're joined by thousands of others that are making the move from server to cloud. In a lot of ways, our customers are bringing our business, are bringing Atlassian to cloud. And they're bringing you and your apps with them. Martin also talked about a few things: trust, security, privacy, and choice. These are the things that a customer thinks about, the key factors that they think about when they decide whether to install an app. Most of us are aware of the advantages of, I'd say, choosing cloud applications. They're faster to set up. They're easier to operate. You get continuous feature delivery, and they scale with your user needs. But what about managing and running those apps? And for the next part, I'm going to direct it to this part, who I feel I've underserved. Well, frankly, it isn't easy. Running code yourself is pretty hard. You have to choose a hosting provider. You have to spin up compute and storage. You have to set up monitoring. And you have to deal with all the costs of that infrastructure. Not to mention, customers aren't always happy about data leaving Atlassian systems. And what this all does is it hurts your ability to get your cloud app installed. In order to better support your teams, in building better cloud applications, we've been asking ourselves some questions. What if you didn't need to build iframes, and the apps that you build would render the same on web and on mobile? What if you didn't need to host and monitor applications yourselves? What if we could solve the problems around app security and trust? Well, standing on the stage here, pretty excited, because I think we have an answer to this. And we're in the early stages of development, but I am thrilled to introduce you to our new cloud development framework, Forge. Forge provides Atlassian-hosted compute, data storage, and a UI framework to build rich apps. Forge first starts with serverless computing. This means the burden of hosting apps yourselves drops away, meaning no more infrastructure-hosted costs or monitoring. You heard that right, Atlassian-hosted cloud apps. And because Atlassian is hosting the cloud app, we can solve the problems around app security and trust by putting in best-in-class, best security for your apps by default. But functions are not enough to build a rich app. You need a UI. Well, we have one, Forge UI. Forge UI is a declarative language for defining user experiences that let you safely build UI components. It includes all of the Atlas Kit components so that you can follow the Atlassian design guidelines and build rich apps. It's also cross-platform. And so things that you build for the web should just work on mobile. We believe that Forge ultimately lowers the bar for app development for Atlassian, and it reduces the friction that you all face to build cloud apps. Forge is a huge milestone for us as a company, and I think I speak for hundreds of Atlassians when I say I could not be more excited for what's ahead for the Atlassian ecosystem. We're on a journey alongside our marketplace vendors, strategic partner integrators, and thousands of in-house developers to make it way, way easier to build and manage and design the most trusted and secure apps for our customers. Today and tomorrow, we're going to go through quite a bit. We're going to talk about aligning ourselves to industry standards and sharing what we're doing to make the lives of thousands of developers better. To kick it off, we'll have engineering team lead Tim and principal product manager Joel lead off with more details on Forge. But that's not all. We went a little overboard here. We got very excited, and so we decided to dedicate an entire track to Forge. Upstairs in Schubert 3, we're going to have a set of design labs where we'll have concepts and laptops that you can play with. You can even peek under the hood, some of the talks here. We would love it if we could have your feedback on the early stages of Forge. I can see a few of you taking pictures of this. Don't worry if you don't get a picture. If you just refresh the event app on your phone after this session, you're going to see the updated track right in your mobile app. So I speak for our team in saying thank you all